right, everybody, we have finally made it to the next Runeterra Riot. I do apologize, this is a couple days late because all this week I was working on getting all the tournament footage out for you guys from the Maverick Tournament League, which happened last weekend. So if you want to check that out, go for it. The links will be below in the description for almost every round, except for round 1. And then all the top 8, and also an interview with Bry Guy, who ended up winning the tournament. So fun stuff there. But for this video, if you are looking for the patch 1.4 update, you know, what happened, what are my thoughts on it, what cards did they change, you're in the right spot. We're also going to go over real quick the tournament, just touch on it for a second. But like I said, all the rounds will be in the description below. And we are going to save the best cards for last. And by best cards, I mean the champions. And as far as champions are concerned, damn am I excited for one of them that they buffed that I was not expecting, but holy crap am I happy that they buffed him. But most importantly, what you've all been waiting for, which is the pilfered cards, or I guess whatever they're called now, right? Yoink, pilfer, not plunder, different. Pilfer, plunder, yoink, different. They did actually change what they are calling that effect, actually. So you're going to see that when we go over it in a little bit. So as always, my name is Justin, also known as Shit Just Works. If you are looking for the next Runeterra Riot episode or the patch 1.4 updates, either one, you're in the right spot. So strap in. We're going to go over everything right now. Alright, first and foremost, if you are new, do not forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell so you know next time I release an episode a little bit late of Runeterra Riot. Usually these are on Wednesday. We are now going on 2 days late, so again, I do apologize. So first and foremost, I do want to just touch on real quick a summation of the tournaments that did happen this weekend. Like I mentioned, we did have Maverick Tournament League. The winner of that was Bry Guy. And again, we have his interview in the description below, as well as all the rounds leading up to the championship. And as far as the decks he was playing, he was running Heimer Vi, Fiora Lux, and a Deep Sea Monster deck. Now, in addition to that tournament, there was also BR Fest. BR Fest was won by the one, the only, Sudrakan, and God, this guy is a beast. He has won some NA stuff. He has won some Brazilian stuff, as you can see, so this is pretty awesome for him to take this championship. He was playing Sejuani Gangplank, Zed, Lucian, and Ezreal Vi. So really good stuff there. Really excited to see so many tournaments happening and everybody really just driving that competitive scene home. But enough of that. Pretty easy week as far as tournaments are concerned. We're going to get into the patch notes, and I do want to start with the developer notes, and we are going to go through kind of each section of the patch notes as they are listed on their website, which does start with the developer notes. And the one thing I just want to mention here is that I love that they just flat out right in the beginning from the developer notes, they're just like epics, Freljord, pilfer, boom. That's what we're worried about. And honestly, that's what most people are worried about, right? I wouldn't say so much the epics. I'll get into that in a second, but Freljord has consistently been a lower strength class that a lot of people are concerned is just not that great, mainly because of the champions, right? You have Ashe. Ashe has always been decent, but Braum, Tryndamere, and Anivia just don't really seem that great. Sejuani has seen a ton of play as of late, which has definitely brought Freljord a little bit more towards the forefront. The problem is, if Freljord is literally just good because the Sejuani splashed in there, right? It's not much beyond that. So they did address that in the dev notes, that was going to be one thing they'd focus on, and you will see that in the champion updates, which again, we're going to save for last because God, are they freaking good. I'm so happy they made some of these changes. Next up, we have, before getting into these card changes, they changed, or added a keyword, I should say, and it is called NAB. Not really excited about what they decided to call this keyword, not gonna lie. The fact that it's called NAB, I don't know, just seems kind of corny. I think everybody would have agreed with Yoink. I don't know. Yoink's also kind of like a meme word, but I don't know. It's fun to say. All right, and it would be pretty cool if they put Yoink on a card. But anyways, NAB is now going to be draw the bottom card of your opponent's deck. So it's basically replacing Pilfer. A little bit disappointed with how that ended up going, and we'll get into that actually after the champions towards the end here. Really wish they did a little bit more. And the epics, I am glad they touched on the epics. I don't think a lot of people were necessarily worried about the epics in this game, but as far as I'm concerned, champions should be, you know, some of the better cards in the game, right? And epics should be up there. Epics should be, with them being a higher rarity card, more impactful cards. And there was a whole slew of epics that just really just felt kind of bad or like nigh unplayable. So they did address those, and I think they did a great job specifically with that in this patch, followed by Freljord, and I think they just kind of missed the boat a little bit on the pilfer mechanics. So with that said, let's get into some of these card changes. Gauntlets. Gauntlets are actually, as of the day of this video, are probably going to be live. So pretty excited to test out those. Honestly, very excited to see game modes like this. And here's why, right? Yes, they're fun. They're extra things to do to play the game. They keep you interested. I get it. But what I always thought to myself anyways, I don't know if these card game companies such as Blizzard and Riot and etc. are actually doing this or not, but I feel like these crazy game modes allow them to play test crazy card ideas before they hit competitive play, right? So they can put some broken card in the gauntlet arena and have people play with it on a daily basis in the regular card pool and see how broken it actually is, and that gives them a better idea of how other card functionality will work with it or against it, etc., etc. So that's just me personally. I think that definitely helps the card design team out as well, if that is how they're using it. But yeah, awesome to see other game modes come in. And finally, it is a new season. So welcome everybody to the Season of Fortune. And most importantly, they actually changed how Masters is kind of calculated to move more towards an LP system. So curious to see how everybody feels about that once we've actually dealt with it for a little while here, because it's really not going to matter until everybody kind of hits Masters and then starts juggling to see, okay, how long can I keep number one, etc., etc. So that's yet to be determined, but pretty excited that they're already focusing on the ranking system. All right, and on to the card changes. So we have a slew of card changes here. So super excited for most of them, not gonna lie. Again, my only real disappointment was with what they did with the pilfered set of cards, right? And again, we'll get into that in a little bit. So first up, we have Petty Officer, who gets the buff to 3-2 instead of 3-1, and I actually really like this. I think his stats are more online or on par with something like Badger Bear, right? So Badger Bear is a 3-4. If on average, when you get the 1-cost follower, you're getting a 1-2 for its cost, now you're actually getting a 4-4 for stats, right? Which is pretty much on par with what Badger Bear was. And then you can also get a keg, right? This actually even makes it maybe a little better than Badger Bear, right? Because like I said, it's actually giving you 4-4 worth of stats on average. Yeah, I do like this change. I think kegs are underrepresented right now as an archetype, so I think this will definitely help them out a little bit. Good to see. Mind Meld. Yeah, I don't... maybe. Maybe. I mean, I called this one. This is what I said in my prediction, that it would go down to 7, possibly even 6. I still don't really think this is like a playable card. I don't know. Maybe it'll be played in some like all-spell deck archetype. Assembly Bot, anybody? I don't know. So Dreg Dredgers, like I just mentioned, did get changed to 1-1, and I do actually really like this, mainly because this is the only real change they made to Deep. And Deep is definitely a good deck. It's definitely in competitive play. We just saw, you know, we went over the deck list from the tournament this past weekend, and people were playing Deep decks. However, this is making them double down on their late game strategy, whereas Dreg Dredgers allowed them to kind of trade a little bit better early game, which I don't think they should be able to do. Plus, getting 1 or 2 Dreg Dredgers early in a Deep deck is like super, super, super good, right? Like seeing Dreg Dredgers and Jettison in your first hand is like, yes, I got this. We're good. It still feels good. Like even if it's not a 2-1 now, seeing 2 Dreg Dredgers in your first hand is still going to feel super good because you're tossing 6 and you're getting Deep super fast. So I don't think this is a change that's going to super affect the archetype in a negative way. I do just think it makes it more polarized, where it does have to focus on that late game, which is the entire strategy of the deck anyways. The Harrowing is now changed to 9 mana. I love this change. It basically stopped seeing play since beta. It was seeing a little bit of play in beta, and then again when Hecarim got the buff recently, but it's just 10 mana is just too much, right? It's just, it feels really bad. And now if you're playing some sort of Ionia Shadow Isles Ephemeral archetype, well, now you can hold back a deny with it. So that kind of forces, anyways, in order for your opponent to 100% negate this card, they have to have 2 deny in hand, assuming that you have 1, which feels a little bit better. It's a way to ensure that you definitely get this card's effect off, so you can rely on it a little bit more as a late game finisher if that's, you know, your overall strategy of the deck. So I do like this change. I do think it'll see more play in ephemeral decks. Very happy to see them focusing a little bit on ephemeral, and they actually changed some other ephemeral cards completely, just completely reworked, which you're going to see in a second. Escaped Abomination. All right, so I love this change as well, and I think that this change is mainly in part for because of Grizzled Ranger and Loyal Badger Bear, right? Loyal Badger Bear is 3/4. I think this being its counterpart at 4/3 makes sense. I think that just putting its stats, like if you have a 2-cost Cursed Keeper plus the Escaped Abomination, so what is that? That's going to be a 5/4 worth of stats for 2. But you can't block initially, is more on par with, what is that, 6/5 worth of stats for 3, but you have that scout effect in there as well. So I just think that they're more in line with how they work, as they're similar kind of strategies, just done in a different way. One is done by killing the units, another is done by being Demacia and doing Demacia things. So love this change. All right, these next 2 cards, oh yes, totally called it. Totally called it in my prediction. So happy to see these. So happy to see these. Jay Medarda. This is now a 6 mana 4/4 when it's targeted, draw a card. Nailed it. Thank you. Time to test some OTK decks. Ren Shadowblade. This is now a 4 mana 3/3 with quick attack. Strike. Add a Shadow Fiend to your hand, which, if you guys don't know, that's the 1 mana 4/3 ephemeral. Nailed it. Thank you. Time to test some ephemeral decks. Next up, we have They Who Endure, and They Who Endure going to 7 mana. Okay. I would have actually preferred to have seen Atrocity go to 7 mana. The problem with Atrocity going to 7 mana is that, I don't know, then it becomes far less playable, I think. I think that their design strategy with Atrocity Riot is to actually allow for 2 Atrocities to be played in a single turn. Like, I think they want that world to exist. So that dream of, you know, Atrocity can be realized. So I kind of understand why. I do still agree with this. I think that having a 7 mana Endure is way better. A lot of times on turn 6, you're getting an 8/8 or a 9/9 with Overwhelm if you do get it early, which just feels a little busted. Now on turn 7, you're probably going to get like a 9/9 or a 10/10, which I think is just a lot better to deal with as far as a competitive environment is concerned. So I do love this change. I'm glad that they recognized that something needed to be done about this deck, but I do still think that Neverglade Caretaker is a little bit busted, and it was not nerfed. Oh, I don't know what they're going to do about that card, but maybe that card won't see as much play because of this nerf. Who knows? She Who Wanders has Regeneration. Okay. Don't care. Poro Herder. This was an unexpected one. It got put down to 2 mana with 2 power and 3 health, and now you're only adding 1 Poro to your hand. So I do like the change to 2 mana, but I would have liked to see it still pull 2 Poros. I don't know. I think that, or draw 1 Poro card. So something like Aurora Borealis or Poro Snacks still is included in what it can draw there, because I think that having the condition of having a Poro ally on the field and only getting rewarded with 1, it just seems bad, because like his stats are just normal statted for a 2/3, and a Poro, drawing a Poro is inherently not that great, right? They're not the best statted cards. So I just feel like this card is very underwhelming now. I think it's better to be lower on the curve, which I think is what they wanted to go for, to kind of get more units down faster. But yeah, I would have liked to see either 2 Poros still or a Poro card to pull some of those Poro Snacks or Aurora Borealis a little bit faster. With that said, Aurora Borealis has changed to 6 mana, and this is perfect. I think that this actually allows the dream of a Poro deck to a little bit closer to being competitive. Still probably not competitive, but 6 mana to get 4 cards makes sense if we go back to the age-old thing that we consistently mention, which is 3 mana, draw 2. Now you're spending 3 mana to get 2 Poros and 3 mana to get 2 Poro Snacks. Captain Farron. Yes, thank you. This card feels so much better now. It just, I don't know, it was so problematic. If you drew it with a big hand, now you're just tossing your whole hand and it's useless essentially. Now you just have to go all in on playing Decimates. Now you can still do your core strategy while also having 3 Decimates. And this is just huge. This I think screams burn now. Like it actually has a home because it supports the burn strategy of, all right, you exhaust your hand to do as much possible damage, and now you have this to kind of recoup your hand and get some more burn in there. So love this as like a burn finisher. Curious to see what kind of deck this will go in as a burn finisher. Maybe something with Darius, who also got changed, who we'll also go over in a second. But I do like this change very, very much. Basilisk Rider. I actually wasn't expecting this, but I do like this change because it's probably the least played Allegiance card. And can we get a leveled Draven, anyone, for Overwhelm? Like I think that Overwhelm might see like a deck archetype come out from this. Like that's the thing with Draven, right? And that's the joke, is you never use Draven to level him up, right? He just kind of gets you spinning axes while he chills on the board and strikes stuff. That's literally it. So this actually makes you kind of want to think about playing an Overwhelm deck archetype. Whether or not that dream comes into fruition, we shall see, but I do love this buff. All right, guys, it happened. It happened. It happened. And what I'm referring to is Unyielding Spirit. It has, the time has come where it has been changed. For all of you people that have been complaining about Unyielding Spirit for so freaking long, it's happened. And I wasn't expecting it to get changed because I didn't think it was that busted. However, I am okay with this change. It does give your opponent more options in regards to responding to the card because it's fast now. So now you can respond to it on the chain. You can play, you know, get excited to remove the Fiora before the Unyielding Spirit hits, which, you know, kind of feels a little bit bad because you are investing 8 mana as an Unyielding Spirit user. So now it does feel bad to have it negated so easily. So I'm not sure if this will just completely kill the card or not. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I mean, now it just kind of gets you to want to play it on a larger unit, which I do like. You know, instead of just being able to play it on a Fiora and basically just have a win condition. So we'll see. I don't think it completely killed the card, but it's definitely far less useful. Genevieve, ELMHEART. So this is a card that actually we saw play a little bit more in the tournament this past weekend, and I do like this buff mainly because it's more on par with Cithria now. So she's a 5/5, whereas Cithria is a 6/6. They both cost 6, but Genevieve has the Challenger and the Scout. So curious, and now she trades with 5/5s, right? Like Garen, anything else with 5 health. There's a whole slew of 5 health followers out there, as well as champions. The biggest thing, though, is damn, Scout and Challenger together just is so good. And now she's always going to be able to get 2 pretty decent pulls off with her Challenger being 5 health. You know, she can pull something with 4 attack now and still be able to attack again and challenge. So I think this is a great card all of a sudden for Scout decks. I think Scout decks are very much going to become more of a thing, and I'm very excited to play them. Super Mega Death Rocket. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. This came out of left field. I don't necessarily disagree with it, but I think somebody's going to regret this in the future. Like, I fully expect this card to go back to 2 mana. I just think that there's going to be so many more cards to come out, and obviously a whole slew of those are going to be burn or discard, which will synergize with Jinx. And having a 1 mana deal 4 damage to Nexus, 1 damage to everything else, just like, damn, I know it's a level up. I know she has to level up in order to get it, and there's like you have to empty your hand, but I just think that that's not gonna fly. So we'll see. I guess it doesn't matter because you can it's only the first time you empty your hand, I believe. You get a Super Mega Death Rocket. So all right, on to the champions, and this is where Freljord gets some assistance. First up, we have Braum. Holy crap, this changed to Braum. He is now a 4 mana 1/5, and the first time he takes damage in his first level, he gets a 3/3 Poro with Overwhelm, a Mighty Poro. So I love this. Like, now he just feels so much more playable early on. and just in general, right? Because one of the biggest problems was you couldn't really level him up consistently because of Will of Ionia, among a lot of other cards, or people could just straight up kill him. Now, if they try to go the straight up kill him route, he will at least always replace himself with a 3/3, which feels a lot better as far as spending that 4 mana. And when you think about it, for 4 mana, you're now getting 4/8 worth of stats, which I'm getting flashbacks to the 7/7 days, 4 mana. So I do think he's very good now. That does also mean that his level up is now a 2/6. And crucially, the attack on him is a big deal because now he can pull, on his first level, he can pull like tokens and kill them like spiderlings. And on his second level, he can just, you know, without any buffs like Braum's Takeout or anything, he can now pull 2 health stuff and kill it. So I do think that's a very big deal. I do think he's much more playable now, and I cannot wait to see some like Braum Vlad decks or something up in this game because, God, I love Braum. The Poro King is back. So Anivia got a buff. So another Freljord champion, and I don't know. They changed her to 6 cost. The issue with Anivia, I don't know if that's really going to do anything because her effect is not bad. Like even at 7, it was worth 7 mana to get her effect, and you know, when she's enlightened, she turns into an egg and comes back and all this good stuff, and so she's like a good champion already. The problem is there's really just no good ways to work her into a good deck strategy or archetype right now, and I think that's her problem. Like she has trouble finding some other champion or some other region or something to work with to really have a strategy that's going to win the game. And I think that, you know, maybe Shadow Isles will be a thing again with the Rekindler, summon infinite Anivias, stuff like that. So maybe that'll come to fruition now again, but I think that's really her problem. She's just kind of an awkward card, so I'm curious to see if this does actually increase her play rate a little. Darius was out of left field as well. I was not expecting Darius to get changed. Essentially, his second level is now 6 health, which I do like. I will say, you know, it always felt bad. I will say it always felt bad having him have to trade evenly with any of the 5/5 Demacia followers and just anything with 5 health, right, or 5 attack. And now it kind of just gives him that little push he needed to really be like a champion, and at 6 cost, feel like he's a 6 cost champion with a little less downside with having to play him, right? So I do like this change overall. I don't think it's going to be a huge change as far as the meta is concerned, but I do think for Darius's sake, is very nice. All right. Okay, this is my one disappointment with this patch. And I have not been disappointed much with Riot's changes. So let's just throw that out there. Pilfer. All right, so they changed the keyword to nab, whatever. I don't really like the word. It doesn't really matter. Not a big deal. And I do like the change for it being the bottom of the deck. But the only card that they truly nerfed in this whole Pilfer strategy is Black Market Merchant. They changed it to 1 health. Now, I do like that change. I think it's okay. As a single change, I think it's okay. You get a lot of advantage with him anyways. He replaces himself with a card. That card will likely be reduced cost. Any further card you draw, reduced cost. But I don't think Black Market Merchant was really the problem. You could have kept him at 2 health. Still would have been fine. And then change Pilfered Goods. Pilfered Goods is still a 2 mana draw 2. The only thing I can rationalize with this is that Riot is thinking, okay, because they've already been quoted saying that this is going to be the RNG region, Bilgewater. This is going to be the only region that is RNG or fully RNG, so you're not going to see stuff like this in other regions or other places throughout the game. Or if you do, it's going to be very, you know, just not often. And if that's the case, then they're thinking, okay, this Pilfered Goods card, this is going to be like the crux of the Bilgewater strategy. This is what's going to give Bilgewater its identity, its advantage. Like every class has that card that gives like this huge advantage, right? Like you have something like Rekindler in Shadow Isles that seems broken just because it revives a champion, but like that's one of Shadow Isles' good cards. Or like even Vengeance or Ruination. Like those are cards that archetype in that region uses to its advantage. It gives it a region identity. I guess that's maybe what they're thinking with pilfered goods and this whole, you know, black market merchant and the Yordle grifter, everything that pilfers cards from your opponent's decks. I need to get used to NAB. I'm still not used to saying that. So if that's their out there going, okay, maybe, you know, maybe they're thinking that if they did nerf pilfered goods, then the whole class or the whole region just becomes like not that playable. So we'll see, especially with the future cards that come out. If they kind of push that steal cards from your opponent's decks a little bit more in future sets with Bilgewater, then maybe, I don't know, maybe I can understand it. But right now, it just still feels like such a troll card to just take your opponent's cards, especially when it's 2 mana, take 2 cards. Ugh, so a little bit disappointed. They did touch on it a little bit. They're probably still monitoring it, so we'll see what happens in the next patch as well. And I guess we'll see if this patch during this meta, if, you know, if it's still a highly played card, really broken card, if it just kind of takes over the meta still, we'll see. All right, so now let's get into, I'm actually going to pull up the website here just for the bottom half of the patch update, because it does include some pictures of boards and emotes, yada, yada, yada. So first off, we have card text consistency. They did change some consistency issues with the card text. So you can see here, fleeting, IC, create, and shuffle. So they made it more consistent across multiple cards, which is awesome. This next round and next round start thing was a big deal as far as like Ember Maiden and Leviathan and stuff like that. I casted so many tournaments where everybody's like, wait, what card goes off first? Does the opponent's card trigger or this or that? So it's good to see that they are focusing on things like this this card clarity now, because this is going to become more of an issue in the future as competitive play starts to pick up. Enemies versus the enemy nexus, swapping written out numbers with digits, which is just kind of a no-brainer. And it looks like they clarified a whole slew of cards as far as how their effects work. So good to see that they're still, you know, taking small things like this seriously and really trying to make sure that this game is as clear and concise as possible, especially when there's so many interactions that honestly some of us have probably still not even seen. Boards. Oh man, I love how they keep coming out with these boards, man. So we have a Lee Sin's Iron Will. 4 legends who extend their senses and strike with skill. This is a pretty cool looking board. Guardians, Vanyip. So, why is Vanyip a cat, you may ask? You see a cat, he is following around a laser, or she. You know, honestly, not even really sure if it's a he or a she. We're just gonna go with cat. So this cat, if you look at the picture, the full card art of Vanyip, Professor Vanyip, which I'll pull up right here, you can clearly see a cat. That is Professor Vanyip. And I think the description in the card art or whatever actually makes it says something to kind of hint at him being a cat. So yeah, Professor Vanyip's a cat. So that's our answer, guys. This is the one and only Professor Vanyip. We have 3 card backs: the Blind Monk, the Title Trickster, and the Bounty Hunter. I actually really like these a lot. I think they're really cool. Fizz's looks cool. Like I'd say Fizz probably looks the coolest because you can see the shark face underneath too. But Lee Sin looks pretty dank as well. Misfortune, Misfortune looks, she's aight, all right. But I'm liking me some Lee Sin and some Fizz. And who doesn't need more emotes? I mean, dude, listen, this emote metagame is on point right now. Probably gonna do a video on it at some point. But we got a Fizz. We got, I'm pretty sure this is Quinn. Can't really tell too much, especially because she's got a sword there. I don't know. Honestly, I'm probably wrong about that. Comment below if this is definitely Quinn. And then Vi. So pretty cool emotes as well. We got a bundle with all the cool Lee Sin stuff. And they obviously also changed up the Expedition archetypes. Now, I don't personally play a whole lot of Expedition. I do know that every time they release a patch, they do remove and add things to the different type of Expedition like bundles that you can get when you're going on your Expedition travels. So I can't really talk about whether or not these are good or bad changes, not gonna lie, but I do like the fact that they are focusing on Expedition still. I do know there are a lot of people who like to play Expedition, and if you're watching this video and you want to see me do some Expedition stuff, comment below, let me know, and maybe I'll put up some content for that as well. So, unfortunately, somebody probably ruined this for people, but they changed the vault cap to 25 and they banned bot accounts because obviously people found a way to make a bot, just jump into games, get infinite experience, get tons of free cards. I don't know, man. It's just sad that people still want to sit there and take the time to do that, but hey, it is what it is. That's the world we live in. They fixed it. They're doing things about it, so good on you, Riot. And as Saucy Mailman said so adeptly in his tweet, this is the most important change they made in this patch. So can we just take a moment to really take in the fact that they polished Teemo's level up effect, and this is such a key integral part of the game that never mind. I'm just gonna stop now. We all love us some Teemo. Let's be honest. All right, so you can't go wrong with making Teemo look cooler in this game, even if he is a meme. All right, and last but not least, we have the bug fixes. There's one thing I just want to say here, and that is, okay, I see some stuff with Vi. Fix an issue with Vi where it would sometimes not have appropriate buffs when copied by Dusk and Dawn. That's been there for a while. They finally fixed it. Great. What I'm more concerned about, and they might have already fixed this and I missed it, please, for the love of God, and if somebody knows, let me know in the comments. I hope they fixed Vi's hands, the gauntlets, staying there in your hand when her effect triggers and she gains attack, and then they just float over your hand for like the rest of the game, or until you play Vi. God, I hope they fix that, because that's the most annoying freaking thing. I can't even. Some of these I don't even like. Fixed Arena Battlecaster would sometimes be invisible. Didn't know that Arena Battlecaster was elusive randomly. That's pretty neat that they fixed that. And then a lot of these are other minor things. I guess Standalone also had an issue as well. I actually did see this happen in one game, but yeah. So pretty excited that they not only focused on a lot of the big stuff with the card updates up here, but they also were able to really focus on some of the smaller issues, some of the things, just tweak the game just a little bit to make it the best possible card game for all of us. So good on you, Riot. And thank you everybody for watching this episode of Runeterra Riot. Sorry again for being a couple days late. We're going to do this again probably... I don't know. I think I've been doing it every week as of late. So I just some episodes are longer than others. It kind of just depends on if there's tournaments that week, if there's a patch update. Like next week there won't be a patch update. Plus I did this one late, so the next one will be like 5 days from now. I don't know. We'll see. I know there is Duels of Runeterra this weekend. So actually, with that said, in the description below there's going to be a link to sign up for Duels of Runeterra 11 NA. I will be casting day 2, not day 1, unfortunately, because it is my birthday. And excuse me, my girlfriend is throwing me a birthday party on Saturday, so rip, I can't do day 1, but I will be doing day 2 with Boulevard, so super excited about that. So until next time, everybody, stay healthy, stay positive. I hope shit just works for you. Peace out.